What is up, guys? And in today's video, we are gonna be ranking every single Fortnite season that I have played on a tier list from S, A, B, C, D, or F, which is S being the highest, F being the worst. So S I consider like goated, one of my favorite seasons of all time. A is a solid season. B is a good season. C is a decent season, like okay, mid kind of, I guess. Uh, Maybe even a boring season could fit in C tier pretty well. I bet there will be some of those. D is a pretty bad season, and F is I don't want to ever see a season like this again. You can see I have a bunch and didn't play. I didn't start playing the game until Chapter 3, Season 1. Although I've seen gameplay of these seasons, and um, I would love to rank them, I don't want to rank them because I didn't play them, so I don't know if I really would have enjoyed them or not. So, without further ado, let's get into the ranking, starting with Chapter 3, Season 1. And this is the first season I ever played a Fortnite chat, and oh man, guys, I whatever you say, guys. I mean, this season was so good. I don't know if I put it in S though. That's gonna be tough, actually. We had a great Winterfest. Great Winterfest. I know the previous year I had heard that people didn't like the Winterfest. I know Chapter 2, Season 1, a lot of people liked that first Winterfest. And then they had some different, like, Operation Snowdown where you get just challenges for rewards, right? And I don't know. I mean, I think this one was a better Winterfest for sure. I think a lot of people liked it. I liked it myself. It was a fun Winterfest. I loved all the bushes being colored with Christmas lights. The Santa Claus, like Sergeant Winter acting like Santa, was pretty cool. And then we had Spider-Man Mythics. We had such a fun loot pool. MK7, Stinger SMG. I remember the season of terrible shotguns. Chapter 3, though, probably has the worst shotguns in Fortnite history, to be honest. I'm gonna put this. Oof. Man, there's so many good updates. Colombo, Tilted, Covert Cavern. Oh man, I'm gonna throw it an A. It's not S tier, but it's A. It's definitely one of my favorites. S would be a stretch for it. It got a little long at the end, but I think it was a great season. I would definitely go back and play it again. It was a lot of fun. Alright, next we have Chapter 3 Season 2. And this one, man, this one's really underrated. Was it better than Chapter 3 Season 1? Not quite, but it was a ton of fun. The Striker Burst AR was a ton of fun to use. The Mythics were good. The Thermoscope was reworked and more of an enjoyable gun to use for especially older players. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Striker Burst the most. The Combat SMG was actually introduced in this season. A really fun weapon to use, in my opinion. And then all the shotguns for Chapter 3, Striker and Auto Shotguns got all buffed. So shotguns became not so awful. I would put this in low A tier. And I know a lot of the content I listed seems boring. Oh, also, there's a great Star Wars update. You can't forget that, right? The Collider POI came at the end, so there's a great build up to the live event. And the live event, my first ever live event, was so fun. I remember Collision was so cool. But this season really thrives because I don't know if I'd be playing Fortnite today without this season because this season introduced zero builds. It's another A tier season. Because of zero build, because of the end of season build up to the live event, it felt like they really went all in with the theme. It was a ton of fun. Again, I could go back and play this season. Now, Chapter 3, Season 3. This is another underrated Chapter 3 season. And do I think it's like A, S, or A tier? No, I don't think it is. But it's not a bad season necessarily. I think the shotguns sucked until like mid-season. Like we had the striker pump, but we had the two-shot shotgun, which wasn't great. It was a lot of the same old guns from like the start of Chapter 3. The meta didn't change too much. The map changes were cool. The reality saplings are cool. I remember those. I liked how they made POIs where, with the story, they would kind of mix into different old locations of Fortnite, classic locations, and become their own. Brave Cave was a cool POI. I remember the Reality Falls POI. Greasy Grove was not a good POI, unfortunately, even though they changed it. Not all changes is good. Shows you that right there. Um, but man, I would put this season in Lobby. The summer update, again, wasn't great. It wasn't. I didn't think at all. It added a prime shotgun, which was fine. They did some things, but not enough, in my opinion. It was kind of disappointing. But the season really got a big boost from the after summer update, the Dragon Ball Z update, which was a ton of fun. Oh man, the Kamehameha, the Nimbus Cloud, Lazy Lagoon came back. Finally replaced the Daily Bugle, which was just sitting there as something that just we wanted to be changed. A very underrated season. People don't give this season enough credit that it deserves, but it deserves a lot more credit. This season did have some bad weapons, so the charged SMG. But you know what? As long as there's one good SMG in there to work with the meta, it doesn't bug me too much. All right, now we have Chapter 3, Season 4. Like a lot of you, I did not like this season. It's an easy D tier. This season, when it comes to bad seasons of Fortnite, is a lot different than recent bad seasons of Fortnite. The effort's better put through on it, to be honest. Like this season was not the greatest at all, but it was a theme they tried that just didn't work. Basically, um, I do think the glue gun, the goo gun was really annoying. Um, the loophole is not my favorite. The Everchrome Burst AR was, kind of mid. We were kind of stuck just using the Hammer AR and um, Prime Shotgun. Two really good weapons from Chapter 3, Season 3 that I really enjoyed that helped me enjoy that season. Um, but yeah, this season was just not great. You know, there were a couple good weapons, but a lot of the weapons they added were not fun to use. The loophole had a lot of junk and it was kind of a mess, you know. Uh, the map changes were probably the highlight of the season on the vaults. You know, we had the um, ship from Lazy Lagoon that went in the air was moving around the map. The blimp from Rave Cave was moving around. You know, we had the old like neo tilted mashup place at the Butter Barn, POI or whatever, which was kind of cool. Um, we had the vaults that you could use keys to open, which were actually kind of fun to use. I like that idea, making mythics less focused. But otherwise, the season was just dry. Not much content. It's a bad loot pool. And the Fortnite Mirrors update was not fun at all. The season got long with a bad loot pool and just didn't hit for me at all. But that's okay. Because my biggest highlight of Chapter 3 Season 4 was watching the FNCS Championship and going nuts. Because ever since I started playing the game, I was waiting to experience my first ever time playing a new chapter of Fortnite. Feeling the hype of it. And man, I couldn't help myself. I was so excited for Chapter 4 Season 1. The season lived up to the hype, everybody. Do I do it? I don't know if it's S tier, actually. There's one missing thing where it's not S tier, but it's better than Chapter 3 Season 1. Hot take. I love this season of Fortnite so much. The weapons were awesome. The Thunder Shotgun, Red AR, Tac Pistol, Twin Mag SMG. The Scar was disappointing, but whatever. I know I sound crazy. I know I sound crazy saying that. But you know what? I think this season was still very enjoyable. The one thing I didn't like about this season was a very boring Winterfest. The Winterfest was boring. Boring, boring, boring. Like, the map changes weren't good at all. The presents were good to open, but it wasn't like the best they could have done for seasonal events. And we were kind of in a drought of having rough seasonal events really since the start of Chapter 3, Season 3 Summer Update. There was a drought until about now. We'll talk about that later, but yeah, this was a awesome season. The mobility was awesome. The pace was great, and then a great update happened at the end of the season. The most wanted update was so much fun, everybody. All the mythics they added, the mythic Maven, no, exotics, excuse me, exotic Maven. I didn't love that thing that much. Get that out of here. It was kind of strong. Exotic heavy, that was cool. I remember that one. Exotic Trim Mag SMG was fun to use. The exotic Red Eye was not great, but it was fun, you know. Overall, just a fun update. Oh, and then the heisted exotic SMG they give you a speed boost. And this season was so fun. And had one of my favorite POIs of all time, Faulty Splits. Ah, Faulty Splits. And the Shockwave Hammer made it even better. But guess what? Just when you thought Fortnite could be so fun, it only got higher. That's an easy S tier season for me. A lot of you would disagree. I love Chapter 4 Season 2. Ask any of my friends what I think of the season that know me well with Fortnite. They know I would play this out of any season, any day. It'd be one of my seasons I would play. Since Chapter 3, this is a season I would play. If I had to pick which one I played, that's the easy one I'd pick. Oh, this is so fun, dude. So much fun. I just enjoyed this so much. It was so much fun. It really was. The kinetic blade, the katana was so much fun to use. Mega City, I don't know why people give it so much crap. It's such a good POI. Mythic Havoc Pump, man. The 250 to the head at one point, and then they nerfed it to 210, but still, that's fine. I'm a fan of mid-game objectives. That's probably a hot take, but I am. The loot island with the pulse rifle. Like, all the loot, the best loot you had to get felt so rewarding to get. It was hard to get, but when you got it, it was so rewarding. The pulse rifle was awesome. The Mystic Havoc pump shotgun. Dude, can it get any better? For all the seasons I've played, no. Maybe if I played before Chapter 3 Season 1, I'd say, no, it can get better than this, but man, this was such a fun season. I love this thing so much. And then we got some amazing updates. Attack on Titan, ODM gear, awesome mobility item, loved it. We got Spider-Man Web Shooters 2.0. These are so much fun to use as well. I mean, you gotta love those. Um, Star Wars update I really liked with all the Force abilities for the first time. They were really cool to use. I just enjoyed the season so much. I really did, man. Like, all the guns were awesome. Fun to use. I even missed about Chapter 4 Season 1 have reality augments, but man, Chapter 4 is just awesome. Uh, Wilds. Yeah, definitely not the best season. I think I'm gonna put this in C tier. I know you guys would probably like me to have it lower, but I like this one in C tier. I think it was kind of just it was just a boring season. That was about it. It was a boring season. I think there were some good updates, like the Jujutsu Kaisen update was kind of fun. There are obviously some good highlights, like the Mammoth Pistol, which was fun to use. Honestly, actually, no, I put it in D tier. Because I just thought of one thing. Um, this is when one of the things I dislike out of all guns in Fortnite the most. One of them, my least favorites weapons ever. The explosive repeater rifle. Oh gosh. Dude, this season ruined the point of this everything, man. It just did. It was so lame. You shot you could suck at aiming, and you could shoot the stupid thing that had splash damage. They did a bunch of it. The explosive repeater takes no skill to use. I have no clue who the heck at Epic thought they um should add the explosive repeater. It feels like something a drunk person would make, a weapon a drunk person would make for Fortnite. I'm not saying that the person who made this was drunk, but seriously, the explosive repeater is made for a drunk person to play Fortnite and win. Seriously. Like, this thing just made the season suck. There were highlights like the Mass Pistol, Jujutsu Kaisen update. The MK Alpha was okay. You know, the other weapons were solid. The perks were boring. The season dragged on a long time. The explosive repeater really made it just annoying to play. It was so dumb. The pump explosive repeater thing, just, it was lame. Really, really lame. So yeah, this season should have been C, but one item made it a little worse than it should have been. Alright, next season, Chapter 4, Season 4, Last Resort. Um, no, it has to go right there. This was such an awesome season again. A lot of Chapter 4 rocked it. A lot of Chapter 4 rocked it. They really missed, except for like the explosive repeater. That was where they missed. The jungle biome was not a miss for me, in my opinion. I know it's a hot take, but that's how I look at it. I think this really was a fun season. We got the heisted theme again. The rocket ram was fun. This was just a fun season, man. I loved how rewarding it was to break into the vaults because you could find stuff like the MK7, Shockwave Launcher, like such good items, top tier mythics that made the game just so much harder for everyone else in the lobby if you had it. You just were so difficult to play against if you had the MK7 this season. The shotguns were fine. The sharp toothing was good. SMGs were solid. Combat SMG. One of my favorite perks on the go bag was in this season. I really loved it. Where you could just get shockwaves from any container. It made movement really fun. Mobility really good. The Twin Mag AR, another really fun AR to use before it got nerfed in Chapter 6 Season 2. It was really awesome. The pre-nerf was a ton of fun to use. MK was also a lot of fun. Shockwave Launcher. This season I'm on great mobility. The vaults were a ton of fun to play in because it was always rewarding. The one thing this season that doesn't put it in S tier is the Fortnite Mirrors update was disappointing. Shocker at this time, that was so surprising. I'm obviously exaggerating, but everything else was a ton of fun. We had this Ice Wall Mythic that was really cool to play. Really made Zero Bow pretty fun and unique. And the forecast towers were also introduced, which gave you slurps. So these were a big priority, and they were really cool to see future storm circles. And overall, just a fun season. I just enjoyed it a lot, and I honestly think it could have been better. But man, an 8-year season, we'd take this season with how Fortnite is now any day. And now the final season before the metaverse, Chapter 4, Season OG, Season 5, really. This is without a doubt, as much as I love Chapter 4, Season 2, I have to put this here above it. I enjoy the season, and I wouldn't put it here if I didn't enjoy it, but I enjoy the season. But as a community, I cannot say that Chapter 4 Season 2 is better than this season. I cannot say that. I thought it was the best. I forgot about this one. This was all time. Unbelievable. This is an unbelievable season. Easily, I know I didn't play the first, 18 seasons of the game, but this is easily a top 3 Fortnite season of all time. Of all time. Easy. There's no doubt about it at this point, man. I mean, like, holy mackerel. This is unreal. Unreal. Like, can you believe it? Could you even believe it at this time? When I heard the leaks that we were going back to that Chapter 1 map, I thought, no way. I thought no way. We all thought no way. And then it happened. And you know what's crazy? There were people that literally went to their principal when they heard this was coming out and asked them, because it was on a Friday, it was a release, that they could have the day off just to play this. That's how much it meant to the community. That's how much it meant. I had school off this day, which is kind of funny. I did. Dude, the Chapter 1 map is golden. The loot pool is golden. It was old Fortnite. It was such a good experience. The most popular season to ever play in Fortnite. The season broke records of gaming. I don't have to explain it. S tier. This was the greatest month of Fortnite I've ever seen. I don't think we'll see anything this good for a long time. Maybe never again. And now Chapter 5. Started well with Season 1. I'll give it a high B. Uh, Again, the Winterfest update was not good. Um, but the launch of Chapter 5 was a good highlight for this season. Weapon attachments were very accessible at vaults. You know, you had to work for them. You had to get a medallion, which is cool. The medallions were like a must go for. You know, if you get a mythic, you get a medallion, you're set for the game. They were kind of hard to get because of how many people were going for them, but when you got them, it was so rewarding. And getting the right weapon attachments was so rewarding. The weapons were good this season. I would have liked the hammer pump to have beaten out the frenzy auto in the meta, but whatever. I mean, it's kind of in the books now. Uh, the striker air was so much fun to use. I love this weapon. The sniper was so good. The Reaper sniper was really good. Probably the greatest sniper we ever seen before it got nerfed. It was so freaking fun. Uh, Mobility wise, we had good mobility. The map was cool at the start. Um, and overall, Chapter 5 got off to a good start. The season did get a little boring at the end. We also had a great Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles update. But other than that, the season was a little boring. It's a low B tier season. But listen, I enjoyed it. I did. And now we have Chapter 5, Season 2. Um, this season started off awesome. It started off hot. It was rolling, man. We were rolling with this season. It was so good to start. You know, we had the Gatekeeper shotgun in the game, a Nerf Frenzy auto. Woo! Uh, the Warforce era wasn't bad, but the season went downhill really fast. It got boring. The theme got taken over by um, Avatar. They added waterbending. Waterbending was way too strong. This season, when I say it went downhill really fast, it did. C tier. When you get a theme completely ruined because of an update, a broken waterbending thing wasn't fun to play the season after that. A not great Star Wars update. The season definitely started well and just really disappointed ending. That was okay though. The next season looked really good. And in my opinion, be controversial, started up here. I love the starter wrecked. The overpowered cars. It was so much fun. Just overpowered cars, car turrets. It was chaos. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. And then they nerfed the cars on the ground. Epic adds boogie bombs. Well, apparently they have to work on something with the EMPs. They couldn't just put them in, which was really dumb. Then EMPs were added and the season felt pointless. Nitro Fist became an annoyance rather than a fun mobility item after that. The Boom Bolt was annoying. The season didn't have any good updates, rather. I guess the Metallica update was okay. And after the nerf cars happened, and the Metallica update was over, this season was just disastrous. Nitro Fists were annoying, terrible, not fun. They took no skill. Um, Magneto Power ruined the season even more. The first couple weeks, 3 weeks were fine. And I'm not going to count Reload. Although Reload saved the season and kept the game running, this was atrocious, man. It started good, but then you had boogie bombs in the game. They take no skill. Those things should never come back. I hope those never come back. I hate boogie bombs. Hope they never ever come back. And then they added EMPs, made cars pointless. Nitro Fists, as I talked about, very annoying, very overpowered, very low skill of an item. And man, the season just didn't hit for me one bit. Season is atrocious. Um, and then when you update the second half of the season, you're just playing a disaster. It stayed a disaster, and that was that. Magneto Power, big problem too. The next one, Chapter 5, Season 4. This is not real Battle Royale. I'm sorry. This season barely survives an F tier season. The jetpacks with bullet drop weapons. Yeah, not good. Gunplay barely mattered. The season was just fighting in the air. The jetpacks with the War Machine Arsenal, if you had high ground, it was impossible to fight. I'm serious, it was impossible to fight. We have bullet drop weapons, which made these jetpacks hard to hit out of the air. And just disastrous, man. And then they even nerfed the spawn rated jetpacks. So this season became a lot more of luck than skill. The Captain America shield was broken as hell. Start of the season was not fun. Thank goodness they nerfed it. But dude, just disastrous. And then we got the Fortnite Mirrors update, which actually was respectively good. This was not a bad update. I enjoyed it a little bit. Fortnite Mirrors was fun. It definitely was. They vaulted the jetpack, which is the best part of it. We actually were able to use gunplay, and it saved the season from being a all-time bad season to being a not great season. And our next season is Chapter 2 Remix, and this one is... looking back on it, I would say high B. I think this season had good ways you could play the game. You know, you could get mythics. The mythics are fun to use. The Chapter 2 map was fun to play. If you stayed in the central area of the map, you know, fighting was good this season. You know, we had the pump shotgun was fun to use. The Scar was there, which was fun. There's snipers. Like, the loot pool is very basic and very fun. The TAC AR with no bloom was crazy. It was so fun. It was unique. The season really didn't suffer from much. I think this season could have had slightly better mobility. That's one thing that kind of holds it back. And then the bots, there are a little bit too many bots in each lobby. So it's like there was a little bit too much AI. But otherwise, I think this season did what it needed to do. It was a fun return to Chapter 2. It wasn't as good as Chapter 1, but you know what? It was a cool month to play the game. It was fun. By the time it was over, it was time to go, but it was fun. And then Chapter 6, Season 1. And this season started awesome. Winterfest was awesome. They put snow on the map. It was cool. It was fun. But they really screwed it up at the end. You know, we had the Hollow Twister Sentinel Pump. It was a fun loot pool. Great mobility. The Oni Mask is fun. The Typhoon Blade was fun until people learned to exploit it, and then it got exploited, and the exploit made it useless. It made the season annoying to play. I'll put this season below Chapter 3, Season 3 low B. It started off great, but after Winterfest and the Godzilla update came, it became a not so fun season. because they added the railgun, which took no skill. It could hit through cars. I don't know why that gun came back. That belongs in one season only in Chapter 2, Season 7. Um, the Typhoon Blade was busted and they didn't nerf it. They didn't adjust to it. They just let it be a problem. And, yeah, decided, they decided that they were going to add the explosive repeater. So this season could have sat in Azure, but the second half, the final month, they really blew it. I'll tell you that. And the bad momentum carried into Chapter 6, Season 2. I, man, where do I put this? I'll put it there. Again, it's worse than Wilds. I know I sound crazy, but it's worse than Wilds. This season was not good. The map changes were fine. Whatever. They added the Striker Burst, which was cool. They fixed it for controller, which was made it useful for us controller players. We liked it. I enjoyed it. Um, but they added the kneecap, which is literally a Typhoon Blade 2.0. It still took no skill. There was no counter for the first 2 weeks of the season, making the season a lot less enjoyable. Um, I guess the vaults were fun at the start of the season. Like, they were kind of rewarding to get. You had to fight for them. And then you got Dilbits, and you could kind of purchase mythics. There was one point where you could get a Mystic Sentinel Pump Shotgun. And then the season just, everything got bad. The kneecapper bat became less of a problem because the rocket drill was added, so that was like basically a counter to it. But this thing, along with the added um, Rift launcher, made this season, oh, and with the insanely absurd amount of cars that were on the map with no EMPs, made this season just mess. Everyone ran away from every fight. It was not fun. You try to chase somebody and then you get third party. It was just like, it felt like a game for babies. It really did. Um, and it was not fun. They added these key cards where you could just buy a Dilbit from NPCs and stuff. It made the vaults pointless. Again, like Chapter 5, Season 3, what they were trying to do, they made pointless. And I don't care if the Mass Pistol came back. Overall, this season missed a ton. The updates didn't highlight anything. The highlights are probably some of the exotics are cool, like the Hollow Twister Air exotic was kind of cool. Um, name some of the other exotics. The snipers that would mark my enemies were kind of cool. Um, the drum gun and minigun being in the game, these guns are way too strong and way too easy to get. So yeah, overall the season had bad balancing. You could get away from fights way too easily. There were actually problems with AI this season, too much in the lobby. And overall, the season really just didn't hit. I would honestly put it lower than Chapter 3, Season 4. And then we get into this season. The Star Wars season, I enjoy. I think it's good. The lightsabers are cool. The Darth Vader eye is funny. I think people who are straight up whiners only don't like it. I like that people can randomly ask dumb questions and that Vader can do it. People like to joke around, and I like that the Vader kind of is made to play around with the joking. It's funny. I like how he can roast you. It's cool. Um, the season's not too focused on mythics, so you kind of can land whatever you'd like. Um, the loot pool's solid. There's solid shotguns. There's solid spray weapons. There's a solid DMR. The mobility is the one thing that's an issue with this season, really. But overall, I've enjoyed it, and I think, if we get more mobility, the season can definitely, have a higher ranking. But that's where it sits right now. And there you go. That is my ranking of every single Fortnite season. Let me know what you think of this ranking. What would you change? If you were ranking your own season, what would you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let me know. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.